Hi again, Risa here, back with another episode of Ask Risa. This is my weekly video series where I provide tips and advice for planning your own wedding. I am a wedding planner based in Sacramento, California, and I put out these videos just to help people who, maybe are trying to do things on their own and need a little bit of extra help. There are lots of other videos in this series, so you can find those all on a playlist on my YouTube channel, which is under Risa James Events. This week, I am talking about florals and how to figure out really how many florals you're going to need, because it's good when you sit down to have your initial consultation with the florist to have at least some idea of what you need and how many you need, and that will help the florist put together an accurate quote for you. So I've broken these down into a couple of different categories. The first category is personal flowers. So these are all the flowers that the different people in the wedding will wear or carry. If there's a bride, then the bride needs a bouquet. If there are two brides, then maybe both brides are going to have a bouquet, or maybe only one. That's something to work out between yourselves. But if there is a bridal bouquet, then you also want to get a tossing bouquet, which is just a smaller version of the bride's bouquet that she can use for the bouquet toss, rather than having to toss her actual large bouquet, especially if she wants to preserve that somehow later and keep it for posterity. Then you have all your bridesmaids and your maid of honor. So you have to know how many of those you're going to have. And sometimes we do a slightly different bouquet for the maid of honor. Maybe it's a little bit larger. Maybe it has a different flower in it that the bridesmaids bouquets don't have. A lot of times the bride's bouquet will be like, maybe the bride's bouquet is all white and then the bridesmaids bouquets are same flower but different colors. Or maybe the bride's bouquet has peonies, whereas the bridesmaids bouquets have ranunculus, something like that. They are a little bit different. Then think about your flower girls. If you're having them and how many you might have, are they going to wear flower crowns, or are they going to carry like flower wands, which I've seen done? Will they have a posy, which is just a little bouquet, a little tiny bouquet? Or will they have baskets with loose petals that they will toss on the aisle as they go down? So think about that. And then there's corsages. So generally the mothers of the couple wear corsages, and if the grandmothers are still with us and present at the wedding, we have corsages for them too. Some couples, if their sisters aren't in the wedding party, they will choose to also get them a corsage. Or if the couple is older and the parents are deceased, then maybe they want to honor the siblings with corsages. With corsages, you can either have a wrist corsage with an elastic band, or a pinned one that goes on your dress. I like to check with the person who will be wearing the corsage to find out what their preference is, especially because some women's dresses are made of very delicate material and they may not want something pinned on their dress, in which case they will want a wrist corsage. So once you figure out how many you need, then I like to just go to the person and ask them which style they prefer. And then of course you have all the guys. So grooms need a boutonniere, a little flower for their lapel. The groomsmen, the best man. Some people get a boutonniere for their officiant if the officiant is a man, and if it's not a priest or someone who'll be wearing formal religious vestments or something like that. Again, it's usually for people who are sort of have a closer relationship with the couple, and feel free to ask your officiant their preference if you're thinking of getting them a boutonniere. And then there's the ring bearer or bearers. If you're having more than one, they should have a little boutonniere. And fathers, grandfathers, brothers, again, just the people in your family who are special to you that you want to signify to everyone else that they're special, they get a boutonniere. Okay, and then there are table centerpieces. So each dinner table will have a centerpiece, and most round tables seat between 8 and 10 people. 8 is more comfortable, 10 is a little snug. So I prefer to do 8 if you can. So basically you just take your guest list, or, your expected number of people who are going to be attending, and divide it by 8. And that gives you a rough number of how many tables you'll have. And you can finalize this number later when it's closer to the wedding and you have your RSVPs are in and you know actually how many people are coming. You can finalize those numbers with your florist then, but for now it's good to have just some idea. And then in addition to the guest dinner tables, you also have to think about the sweetheart table or the head table. So the head table is usually a long rectangular set of tables where the couple sits in the middle and their wedding party attendants sit on either side of them. So you'll need either multiple arrangements in the middle or a long garland going along the whole table and draping down the side. Or if you're doing a sweetheart table, which is a little bit more common these days, again, you can do either some sort of centerpiece or a garland or something like that. But just make sure you think about what type of table you're doing, because that will determine how many arrangements you actually need for that table. A head table needs more. And then there are what I call accent arrangements for just all the other tables around the reception area. So you've got your guest book table / gift table, where people are signing the guest book and maybe dropping off a gift or a card in a card box. You want an arrangement for that. The escort card table, if you're doing individual folded tinted escort cards, it's nice to have those on their own table and have an arrangement for them. If you're doing them on a round table, which is really fun, because then you can do a really large like statement centerpiece in the middle of the table, and then we fan out the escort cards in spokes going around the circle around the large statement centerpiece. So that makes a nice entryway piece for your wedding. If you have a welcome sign on an easel, when people first come in, it can be nice to do a little sort of swag at the top or along one corner of the sign, just a few flowers with some little greenery, eucalyptus leaves or something like that. If you're doing favors and you are putting them all on one table together, then it can be nice to have a little centerpiece or an arrangement for that table. The bar, usually we like to put a centerpiece arrangement on the bar somewhere. If you are doing a bar menu, we can do florals for that. Again, like with the welcome sign, we can put just a sprig, like a few flowers with some greenery, either at the top, in the middle, or along the bottom, or along one corner. We can make that work. And if you're doing a beverage station, so like in the summer, sometimes we like to have cold beverages so people can get something to drink before the ceremony, like a lemonade or water or something. Or in the winter, we do hot cider or something that's warm. It's nice to have an arrangement for that table as well. When it comes to the buffet tables, sometimes caterers will handle the decor of the buffet tables themselves, so you can check with your caterer and see what they do. There's not a ton of space on the buffet table because the chafing dishes and the serving spoons and the plates that the serving spoons go on, those take up a lot of room. So if you are going to do something for the buffet table, keep it small. And if you're looking for a place to cut, that's my number one thing to cut. Just the buffet table, it's nice if you have something there, but it's totally not necessary. No one will even notice. There's so much going on there. So if you want to cut something, cut the buffet table arrangement. And then the cake table has kind of two parts to it. So there's the cake itself. If you're doing fresh flowers on the cake, then you need something for the actual table. So a lot of times we will scatter rose petals around the table, around the cake on the table, or we'll do, again with rose petals, we'll do a really thick border along the base of the cake, sitting on the table but surrounding the cake. Or you can just do an arrangement if you don't want to do loose rose petals, that's fine too. And then the entryway, if you're getting married inside and there's a foyer or some sort of entrance into the building, it can be nice to do maybe two tall arrangements or two arrangements that are on pillars, just something with some height to make a statement when people come in the door, to let them know they're arriving at something special. So that's accent arrangements. And then there's the ceremony. So if you have an arch for the ceremony, you definitely want to decorate that unless it's I had one couple whose dad or uncle made a really elaborate handcrafted wood arch, and it was gorgeous. We didn't need to do anything to it. We put no additional decor on that arch because it was stunning the way it was. But most arches are not that good looking, so you want to dress them up with something. Usually it's some sort of fabric swag and some florals. We try to use a lot more greenery with the ceremony arch decor just because flowers can get really expensive and the arch is a lot of real estate. So we tend to do like a small cluster of flowers at the top with more elaborate greenery, and then maybe we do like one cluster of flowers on the side, and then we do fabric around the rest of the arch to dress it up. You also can do, if you're not having an arch, you can do arrangements on either side of where the couple will be framed with the officiant, arrangements on pillars or tall arrangements or something that sort of marks that spot as this is where the ceremony is. You may want loose rose petals to line the aisles, to line the aisle along the interior line of chairs. You might want rose petals or lavender for the guests to toss at the end of the ceremony. I've had couples do little glassine bags, those white, almost translucent bags with rose petals and a little sticker with their names and the wedding date on them. And we put those out on the chairs before the ceremony, and then people toss the petals. I've also done sachets of lavender and paper cones of lavender. So that's something to think about, whether you want people to toss anything. Also, does your venue let people toss something? If it's inside, they might let you, but charge you an extra cleaning fee. Even if it's outside, they might charge you a cleaning fee. It kind of depends, so check with your venue. Or in lieu of rose petals lining the aisle, maybe you want something like a small arrangement hanging on the side of every chair on the aisle or every other chair. And do you want a fabric swag, like bunting that goes between each chair along the aisle? Another thing to think about that your florist can help you with. So just make a list, like actually write this stuff down and take it with you to your meeting with your potential florist, because a little bit of preparation will make this consultation much more productive for you and the florist, and will also enable the florist to give you a more accurate quote on the front end, so you're not surprised later when you thought of 14 other arrangements that you need but weren't discussed at the initial meeting. So a little preparation goes a long way. If you have any questions that you want me to answer either about this subject or something else, feel free to leave a comment. I always read all the comments and I will definitely get back to you. Happy to answer questions. And if you found this video useful, go ahead and give it a like. That helps my rankings on YouTube. And I will be back next week to talk some more about wedding planning advice. Until then, take care.